Graduates of the Alabama class of 2025 standing here before you in this magnificent arena, it is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide. True. That's true. That's true. That's true. I thought that was rather clever. If you look at what's going on, you know, they get their $5 billion a year. That is not going to be so forthcoming. Now, wasn't that a clever one, though? Huh? Who would think of that? Because this...
So, members of Congress that should be indicted but never probably will be. Ilhan Omar. Immigration fraud. She married her brother to become a resident. Yeah, true. Nobody's talking about that. Rep. Senator from Michigan. Well, animal cruelty, identity theft, all sorts of different freaking issues that he's done with his shady past. Nothing's going to happen about that either, I believe. Has anyone found AOC's missing $1 million from her campaign? I'm waiting, asking for a few friends. Oh, and let's not forget, there's a good old Adam Schiff. He's never going to see justice. Indictment for him? Never. Oh, what about the inside traders? Like all the allegations around Pelosi, Dan Crenshaw, Nicole Malliotakis. What about them? Are they ever going to be indicted and investigated? Just curious. Oh, and then there's all the sex scandals, right? I mean, I can name them, but those are so long. But pretty much about half of Congress. Anything about that? Oh, and then there's Jasmine Crockett's grandma receiving Social Security payments for 11 years after she passed. It's just... Well, anyway, I just figured I'd share a few thoughts, and those are thoughts in my mind. I think it's time we start really putting metal to the pedal, because why not?
What would your dream celebrity encounter be?
It's suggested to me by the people on the internet that I get some inspiration from Jim Halpert from The Office on some of my reaction shots. And I thought I might throw out that John Krasinski and I could meet at my favorite show and discuss the correct way to look into a camera when something is happening that you think is wild. So anyway, John, if you want to come on someday and we can discuss this.
Twinning.
Let's do it. It would be pretty funny.
This is very good. Okay. That's gonna go viral. Okay, everyone.
Big balls. It's big. That should be obvious. Why do they call you Big Balls?
I just said it as my LinkedIn username.
Okay.
Well, people on LinkedIn take themselves like super seriously, and they're pretty adverse to risk. And I was like, well, I want to be neither of those things. So I said it, and honestly, I didn't even think anyone would notice.
Yeah.
So what do you
LinkedIn
do?
is so cringe.
What does Big Balls do?
Right now, I'm working on some payment computer stuff. So one of our initiatives is to root out fraud and waste. And to do that, we started looking at the payment computers. And as mentioned earlier, like there is no accounting of what payments actually go to in the payment computer. So like you look at a specific line item, like $20 million, and you're like, okay, well, what is this money going to? And for the majority of payment systems, it's like, well, we don't really know. And
yeah, like what? That would be the response.
Is this the most basic responses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most common response.
What do you say when people just say, I don't know?
Well, it's a huge cause for concern because, like, the upstream thing, which is distributing the money, literally has no checks and no accountability to the actual American taxpayer. So it's a huge vector for fraud, waste, and abuse.
Do these people not respect taxpayer money?
I mean, there's no incentive to if you work in the government. I think the incentives will always decide the outcomes.
Yes.
Elon, I love the double hat, by the way. He's the only one that can do that. Get away with it.
Well, Mr. President, they say I wear a lot of hats. It's true. Even my hat has a hat.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this next one.
She said yes. It's immediately yes. No, I'm sorry.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
1,000% absolutely yes.
All right, Friday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in Jesus' mighty name. Let me say hey to everybody in the Rumble Rant. Let's start right here. Big Jim Go Blue is on. John Phillips is on. Dave Souders is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Laura Jean Lynn is on. East Trout is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Mike Griffith is on. Hassle Free TV is on. JD Joy 25 is on. Peg McGroin is on. Wisconsin Honey Badger is on. Judy Anita is on. Robin Aroni is on. Malamute Lover is on. Salty Gonads is on. Makita Man is on. Leon Fish Puppy is on. D9597 is on. Dave Souders is on. JBC 2020 is on. Wait Away is on. Let me see here. 50925 McDonald is on. Veronica 18201 is on. LA 106 Times is on. TJT1 is on. DK Jackson's on. Sweaty is on. Boy 7 Howdy is on. Snag Dog is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Salty Gonads is on. Sheila K is on. Jenna Fogg is on. K4 VMS is on. Black Horse is on. Drumming for Jesus is on. East Trout is on. Let me see here. Truth Lover 2 is on. Joe Heathen is on. Key Lime 13 is on. Keeper 1376 is on. Big Scott 1 is on. Gritterton is on. Jim Brody's on. Louis-Ann 5 is on. Golf Master 1 is on. Stepha Toms is on. Jenna Fogg is on. JD Wool is on. P-Suffs is on. Mobeto 1 is on. Conservative Warrior is on. Buckeye Nut 1968 is on. Scrolling down, Producer Aaron is on. Milwaukee James is on. Let me see here. Anybody I missed? Lita Bonita is on. All right. Oh, wow. Lots of more people are on here. Let's see here. Oh, man. I just screwed the thing up. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Pardon me. I just jumped right off the chat, and I'm on Rumble now. There we are. Back on. All right. There we go. You're like, Tom, does this make you nervous? No, I've humiliated myself in public so many times it doesn't matter. All right, let's hop right into this for a couple minutes, and we've got an awesome guest on, mayoral candidate out of Cincinnati. Just happens to be the brother of J.D. Vance. Is going to be on with us in 7 minutes, so be ready for that. Awesome stuff. I don't want to tell you his name in case you all look him up. But anyway, you're going to look him up if you don't know who he is already. Also a pastor out of Cincinnati. Yeah, and again, I said J.D. Vance's brother. Pretty cool. All right, let's go. Trump economic victories. Okay, and there is really no bad news right now. I mean, if you could, I want somebody, you can send it in if you want. Where is the bad news? Has anybody's prices actually gone up? There's no businesses complaining about prices going up. You know why? Because the only people that have had tariffs levied upon them are the CCP and the PLA. That's it. There are no tariffs because we're in a 90-day negotiation time. There's a 90-day moratorium on tariffs, on the United States levying tariffs on the people we do trade with. So there is no consequence of tariffs, no ramifications of tariffs because they're not levied yet. And the only place they really are levied is China. And China's economy is, listen, it's falling apart. It's not hyperbolic to say that. It's literally falling apart. Factories are closing. They are furloughing employees. And when you do that in a totalitarian regime, an authoritarian dictatorship country, you are playing with civil war. They know that. So they are going to sprint to the table. And by the way, they already have. And I'll show you that whenever we get to it tonight. We're going to do 15 minutes with our guest, though, here in a minute. All right, Eric Doherty tweet. Just in, S&P 500 hits longest winning streak in 20 years. Democrats, every last one of them. They're walking up to every single one of these they can find and talking about the 5-letter word, chaos. What chaos? Economic chaos. Trump is attacking our democracy. Trump is attacking our governmental norms. Good that he's attacking our governmental norms because all our government's about is forming NGOs to give jobs to Democrats. That's all that it is, multi-million-dollar jobs to Democrats, hire Democratic attorneys, donate to Democratic Party campaigns. That's where our $37 trillion has gone, including probably the $20 trillion that's missing right out of the Pentagon. So just in, S&P 500 hits its longest winning streak, Aaron, in just 20 years.
Oh, that's it.
After closing green again. I thought this was chaos. I thought the economic sky was all falling. I mean, why is it that imagine being so disingenuous that you as you know, that's what it means to be a Democrat in 2025, that you as Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, that you actually walk up to a podium and say, our economy is crashing. Does that look like it's crashing to you? Did anybody, we'll get to it in a second, did anybody see the jobs report today? Anybody see it? And having the audacity. And it's not just, I mean, there's audacity. There's times where things are a positive and audacity. Milwaukee James says gas is $2.73 in Milwaukee. $2.73. $2.98 here. I mean, and this economic sky is falling. Imagine the Democrats, it's always the opposite. When everything is burning to the ground under the Biden administration, they come out and say everything's great. This is the strongest economy we've ever had. Nobody can afford a house. The average price of a house went to $411,000 when Trump left. It was still in the 200s. And they come out, imagine that. You come out when everything is horrible. You know, Pacific Palisades burns to the ground. You know, everything went well, pretty much as planned. When everything's horrible, they come out and say everything's great. Now, when everything's great, they come out and say everything's horrible. And you're like, well, it's just politics. No, it's bold-faced lying. Because here's the thing. If Joe Biden had rallied our economy and it was doing great, tonight it's Brent, Aaron, and I, we'd put it out. You know, Joe Biden is beating us. The economy, you know, we never had to worry about it because the economy was absolute trash for 4 straight years. But I mean, we came out, if it was doing great, we would come out and say, hey, you know what? Economy is doing great. We were wrong. Joe Biden's kicking freaking butt. We would, because that would be what were the facts. If it was a legitimate, you know, not the phony labor, you know, all the numbers he put out. We created 1.1 million jobs. Oh, wait, we have to revise that down by 800,000. That's all a fact, by the way. So, I mean, if it was a legitimate economy, which all of Trump's is, because none of the jobs that Trump is creating or people entering the job market, none of them are government. None of them are illegal aliens. So it's just a slight little high. The S&P hits its longest winning streak in 20 freaking years. And a Democrat, well, Hakeem Jeffries, or AOC, or Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, any of them, they will walk up to a podium today in direct contradiction to all that is factual and say that the economy is tanking, because that's what they're doing. Let's go to the next one, then we're going to go to our guest. All right, Davery Darkin's video, just in April jobs report. Play it for me.
All
right, breaking moments ago, the April jobs report just released showing steady gains amid some economic uncertainty. I want to bring in CNN's Matt Egan, who joins me now with more. All right, what are we seeing in the numbers? What is the context here?
Yeah, Omar, we were bracing for a slowdown in the jobs market. We did not get that. We got steady hiring. This jobs market is just relentless. Let me run you through the key numbers.
Yeah, let's do it.
177,000 jobs were added in the month of April. That easily beat forecasts for 135,000. So not even close there. The unemployment rate stayed low. It stayed at 4.2%.
And now let me give you the real numbers on this too, just so everybody knows. And then we're going to our guest. Those are jobs that were created out of whole cloth. Those are jobs that didn't. Now there is no more recreating COVID jobs now. Those were all taken by Joe Biden. Any positive job growth that Joe Biden had, which was minimal, by the way, because most of the jobs that were lost during COVID were permanently lost because 60% of the businesses that closed during COVID never reopened. So these are jobs that have nothing to do with reopening COVID jobs. These are legitimate 177,000 jobs created in the month of April. 177,000 jobs created. Now get this. It's not just that he created 577,000 more jobs. 500,000 jobs were actually also taken. 500,000 people re-entered the workforce for a grand total of almost 700,000 jobs addressed in 1 month. Name 1 month out of the 4 putrid years of Joseph Robinette Biden that you ever had a month like that. We'll come back to all this in a little bit. Let's play our intro for Mr. Corey Bowman. Play for me.
Republican Corey Bowman officially begins his campaign for Cincinnati mayor. This is the first time a Republican has filed to run for the position in 16 years.
As a pastor and a business owner in Cincinnati, I've had a front row seat to policies that have failed our citizens, leaving them in poverty. And I'm saying no more. It's time for a government that works for the people. It's time for decisions to be made that bring hope. It's time to end the waste, approach housing practically, cut the red tape, fix our roads, back the police, guard our kids, and see a bright future for the greatest city on earth. Cincinnati, it's time.
All right, we are on here with Pastor Corey Bowman. Hey, Corey, nice to see you again. I know we've met up a couple times at the river with Pastor Rodney. How are things going? Tell us what's happening with everything. I want to know. We'll start off. Why? Of course, you pastor a church. Tell us why Cincinnati so desperately needs a change in leadership, or even a change of course.
Yeah, well, I think that, first off, thank you for having me on, Pastor Tom. It's awesome to be here. But I will say this, that Cincinnati is finding itself in the place that a lot of downtown areas are finding themselves in. And for us specifically, we are 100% Democrat controlled, and you have 9 city council members and 1 mayor that have all been 100% Democrat. And we've seen it this way really for the majority of the last half century. We haven't had a Republican mayor since 1970, I believe. Actually, no, sorry, correct me. It's 1980 that we have not had a Republican mayor. We haven't even had a Republican nominee as a mayor since 2009. So 16 years, nobody has even contested the Democratic Party in the city. And because of that, what you're seeing is you're seeing crime increase. You're seeing a crippling infrastructure. The roads are in terrible condition. And really what it comes down to is money management. What you were talking about with the NGOs and with Democrat-funded nonprofits and whatever, they're just creating jobs, creating funnels of money. That happens more so even in the downtown areas. And what I tell people is that these downtown areas, if they call themselves sanctuary cities, they're not sanctuaries for immigration. They're not sanctuaries for families. They are sanctuaries for the last stand of corruption in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, exactly. Let's cross this bridge real quick in case people missed it. Now, you have a famous brother. Who would that happen to be?
Yep.
Introduce your famous brother.
My brother on my dad's side, my half brother on my dad's side is the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance.
That's pretty wild. If you go and you look, you can find lots of pictures with Corey and the Vice President, just a former also Senator J.D. Vance. Just have to cross that bridge. You know, hey, you might as well use it. You might as well use that power. And I've got a retired, he's not Cincinnati PD, but a local jurisdiction cop here in the studio with us. He's a friend of ours here at Attends Foundation Church here, and he backs up everything you said about Cincinnati. I mean, where it's at, what's happening with it. Been dominated by Democrats, all of this time. And you said the whole city council is dominated by Democrats. Is it 100%? Is everything 100% Democrat in Cincinnati?
Yeah. Our last city election, we had one lone member of the city council that was Republican, and she got voted out. And that was devastating for the Republican Party to have that one representation gone. But the last 4 years, you're seeing the results of that. You have this huge echo chamber in City Hall where everybody agrees on everything. Nothing is being contested. And because of that, you're seeing decline in a lot of areas.
So what are you obviously you've probably met up with some Republican leadership in the area. Now you're one of us, so you're not exactly an establishment Republican guy either. You're out there with us, that are red pilled and everything with all that went on. I won't get into everything, but anyway. So what has the Republican leadership told you? What kind of backing are you getting? Are you getting decent fundraising? Do you feel some momentum? What's your gut instinct on how the campaign's going so far?
Well, right now we're in a primary. So our primary, the way the city elections work is that it's all nonpartisan. So in our primary and our general election, there's no R or D next to our names. You're running as a nonpartisan candidate. But, we do have, established Democrat, established Republicans in the parties. We have our county Republican leadership. And really a strong suit in the city is in the judicial realm. And so I just came back from a dinner last night. It was a fundraiser for some judges that are running for election this year as well. And so there's a very strong presence there. And then you're seeing a lot in the congressional races and in the congressional districts and state reps, you're seeing a strong Republican party there. But when it comes to these downtown areas, there is a sense of there's no hope, right? Yeah. And so in the last election, the last mayoral city election, there was only 26% of registered voters that actually showed up. And they're saying that, this is a predominantly blue city, but I beg to differ because I feel like there's a sleeping giant of voters that just don't see a point in voting. And so for the first time in 16 years, we're seeing a contest of this. And in the primary season, the only thing that we're seeing right now is that, so there's two Republicans actually that are running against the incumbent. I'm being told that we're in a very good position to be able to be in the final two for the general election. I think that we're going to see a big shock come to a lot of the Democrats on Tuesday for it. But a lot of the party, they're having to wait until after the primary to offer a lot of support just because of that. But we're getting a lot of support, a lot of encouragement, a lot of advice from the Republican leadership. But I really believe that after the primary, that's when the unifying and the actual sense that this is a shot, that this is actually a reality, that this can happen, I think that's going to take over.
All right, so how does that, I don't mean to be a dummy on this, but how exactly does it work? So do you have to win the Republican primary? Do you have to be in the top two? And then how many end up on the general? Yeah. It's just a straight out primary.
So
I get it. I get it. It's a general primary, and then the top two run in the general election.
This is actually the history that's being made in the city, is that after Tuesday, you're going to have, for the first time in Cincinnati history, a Republican that's going to win in a primary, because we've only had the primary system since 2001. So we're actually making history already with this race. But then after Tuesday, that's when we're going to really see how many people are voting, how many people are turning out that are fed up with the establishment. So I'm telling everybody, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people are expecting only 11 to 15% voter turnout. I'm believing for higher than that, because I think there's enough people that are fed up. We just have to let people know that May 6th is our primary. So once people get out there, then what happens is that you have 9 city council members, and you don't have 9 positions on the city council. It's the top 9 votes. So you could have 20 people on the ballot, and whoever the top 9 vote getters are, that's who's going to be on city council.
I gotcha. Well, okay, I get it now. So, tell us just a little bit. Like, I know you said it in general earlier. If you're driving in downtown Cincinnati, Democrat controlled since 1980 was the last. I think you said the last mayor, and the last Republican mayor. Not the Republican mayor is always great either, but the last Republican mayor in Cincinnati. So you're driving downtown Cincinnati. What? Just 60 seconds. What do you see down there?
Well, if you're driving downtown, if you listen to the news conferences of the Democratic leadership, they're going to tell you that crime is down, and they're going to tell you that they're paving roads. And nothing could be farther from the truth. And I think that's where people are waking up, because they're hearing this gaslighting on the surface of their leadership. But when you are downtown and when you drive, you are going over potholes. You're encountering these ridiculous speed bumps. They call them speed humps here, that are ridiculously put all throughout the city because they don't want to actually have the police officers patrol the way that they want to. And then you have not only that with the infrastructure, but you have crime rates that are going up. And a lot of statistics are being manipulated by the leadership because of unreporting. A big issue, I don't know if you see it in any other downtown areas that you've witnessed, but there's these, what we call them as 311 or ARCs, but there's these programs that essentially are city employees that are trying to take the place of our police officers. And a big issue with our city as well is that, I know I'm getting off track here with it, but a big issue with our city is that the call center itself is run by the city. And so they are designating where these emergency calls are getting assigned, whether it be to city workers or whether it be to what they call ARC, alternative response responders, or the Cincinnati police. So the Cincinnati police a lot of times are seen as the bad guys. When really they're there to protect and serve. They have a heart for the community. And so because of that, a lot of these crimes are getting unreported. And then there's actually prosecutors that are continuously letting people go once they get booked. And so what happens is that the police officers and the morale is so down that they don't even see that there's a sense in arresting some of these people, because they're just going to get let back on the street the next week. And so that's what you're seeing downtown. You're seeing crippling infrastructure, and you're seeing crime that's actually, when you are downtown at night, you hear the gunshots, and then you just see a morale that's being lost in a lot of these forgotten neighborhoods.
So Cincinnati really, because Cincinnati doesn't get talked about as much, and I used to drive through Cincinnati once a year because my dad's side of the family comes from Van Wert, Ohio, so I was going to Ohio every year in my life and have to drive up straight up 75 through Cincinnati, take a left in Dayton, and head to Van Wert. But it seems like Cincinnati, it's a beautiful city as you drive through it. It's an absolutely beautiful city, stadium and everything you see on the river and all that. It's beautiful. So it seems like to me, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you guys are the perfect Soros experiment. You are the Soros petri dish. Sounds like to me you've got the defund the police. They always call it reallocation of funds, whatever. Defund the police movement, where you actually have, and it's easy for me to get fixated on the law enforcement end of things because of my past, but where you have, like you said, the call center actually dispatching calls to civilians. So then civilians, then when the cops actually are there, the cops are considered to be the Gestapo, because what you really want are the people who are going to go there and aren't going to arrest you, going to, soft play the whole thing or whatever it may be. And then on top of all of that, you have the lack of prosecution of crime once an arrest is actually made. So it seems like nobody talks about Cincinnati. All you hear about is like LA, New York, but it sounds like to me, you guys are a microcosm of all that's a problem in all these other big cities that we hear about all the time. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and so they've actually said it. They're not even hiding it. That the mayor actually just posted, reshared, where he was at an event that was encouraging architects and developers to adopt this 15-minute city policy on our city. But this is the thing about Cincinnati, is that we have an amazing downtown area, and yes, density in residential, public transportation, that's all important in our downtown area. But we're 52 neighborhoods that spread across 10, 15 miles across the city limits. And we're a city of hills, we're a city of snow, and they're trying to put all these bike lanes and all these other things in the infrastructure that don't make any sense. I live in a neighborhood that's north of downtown where nobody rides a bike around our area because there's hills everywhere. So they have all this money that's been allocated toward having a bike lane in a major street in my neighborhood. I have yet to see one bike on that bike trail in 3 years of living there. And so it's just insane that they're adopting these things, expecting everybody to just follow suit. And that's the issue that we're seeing, is that a lot of people, doesn't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, they're voicing their concerns that these developments and these things that are happening in their neighborhoods are taking away the charm and the character of their neighborhoods. And the city council and the mayor are blatantly just saying, we don't care. These developments are actually going to go, and you have no say in it.
Now, is the mayor, is he or she, I'm assuming it's a he, but is he running again? Is he running as an incumbent? So that's who you'll be running against?
Yep, he's running as an incumbent.
Okay, got it. I didn't know if he had termed out or whatever, but okay, so you're going to be running against the sitting mayor. Sounds to me like all you have to do is get a bunch of people to vote who never vote, which is how Trump wins every time. That's how Trump wins.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that, if you can get out, the base, because Ohio is red. That is a legit red state, and you don't see it careening downhill like Texas is careening downhill really bad and really fast. But Ohio is not. There's a lot of red people in the city of Cincinnati. Can I say, because I've never lived there, that's the majority? I think what happens with Republicans is why you see, like, we lose, not with Trump, but we lose the popular vote, because in some of these blue states, Republicans just don't come out and vote because they know there's no chance of any of them winning. They think that anyway. And here, if only 26% showed up, because nobody's going to think that you can win. So all you have to do is get a certain really small percentage of available conservative voters, and there's got to be a bunch of them. It's Cincinnati, Ohio. This is not, This is not L.A. They come out and they, you could steal this thing. This is exciting. What do you think?
Well, I tell you what is turning the tide with a lot of people. Now, national politics is one thing, but in these local city governments, residents are actually very tired of their local city officials just trying to play national politics, because our mayor actually was just seen at a protest against Trump and Elon in downtown that was blocking off the streets without a permit, and actually costed the Cincinnati Police Department $15,000 in unexpected pay to reassign officers for that day, because it was just unplanned. Now, people can protest all they want, but if you did that in a conservative protest, we would all be put in bars.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what's happening is that people are tired of these mayors and these city council members trying to act like what federal governments are doing. They're looking for people that just want to fix the roads. They're looking for people that just want safe streets. They're like, I don't care what you care about with Ukraine or any of these other issues that are facing the nation. I just want my streets paved. I just want my streets safe, and I just want the budget to be balanced properly in our city.
Yeah, they want the snow off the streets. They want salt put down. They want safe. They don't want to have to worry about their safety when they go downtown. They're not, I don't think even Democrats, they don't want a 15-minute city. They don't want a 15-minute Soros WEF authoritarian city. They really don't. You don't find out that you don't want it until after you have it. But that's what you said there was very poignant about all of these local politicians. Even in big cities like Cincinnati, there's still a local politician get caught up in the globalist politic or the national politic, and they try to institute those policies. You'll see these small towns calling for reparations and things like that. It's got nothing to do with the working. I think you could steal Democrat votes too, because they're miserable. Trump did. This is the time to go. You're directly connected with the Trump administration, with your brother J.D. Vance. So just a couple of things before we go. Now, if people want to help out with the campaign, where do they go? What do they do?
Well, what we're trying to do right now is get as much national attention on this as possible. So I know if you're not in Cincinnati, you might think, oh, well, I can't help. You can go to CoreyBowman.com and you can get involved. You can actually sign the lead page that's at the bottom of our page. You can contribute financially. What we're realizing is that with these city elections, the campaigning is completely different. For a congressional race, a fundraiser could call 4 or 5 big donors and get a really good head start on some big donations. We have a cap of $1,100 per individual on our contributions in the city. And so this really has to be built on the masses of people that see the value in seeing Cincinnati flipped. Our slogan for our campaign is Flip the Natty. And so as
awesome.
people see this, I really think that this can actually be an example, because we're actually within 5 to 7 hours of 60% of the population in America. So we're actually 5 to 7 hour drive away from Indianapolis, from Chicago, from Milwaukee,
That's
from
right.
Knoxville. And so St. Louis, I mean, dear God, so all these cities, what they can see it as is that if we can flip the natty, if we can actually see a change in Cincinnati in this experimental, what you said, 15-minute city experiment, if we can see a change in here, well, by God, there's hope in my city. And so what I'm trying to do is get as much national attention on this to be able to say, hey, if we can flip this city, then every other city where this last stand of government corruption is going to be, we can flip all these other cities as well.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone needs to remember something. The reason why Donald Trump won is because of Steve Bannon's precinct committeeman, precinct captain, making politics local. That's really how the Trump administration won, is they got a lot of people locally energized and understanding. I mean, they swept school boards and everything else. And that's how we continue to win. Because listen, these national elections, there's only really probably going to be one Trump in our generation. So we need to have as many, mayoralships as we can, governorships, school boards, city councils as we possibly can, because that is actually what turns the tide. I mean, because that's why George Soros and now Alex Soros concentrates on instituting their own DAs, because they end up controlling city policy by not enforcing crime. So that's how it works. And it's not just Donald Trump win the nation. We have to have the Corey Bowmans win. You have to. And if Rudy Giuliani can win in New York, you can win in Cincinnati.
Well, no, that's actually, I think, the biggest difference between this Trump term and the last Trump term. The last Trump term was that, hey, we had this individual that was leading this movement. But I really feel like with this term right here, you're seeing local government, you're seeing people realize that, yes, he's doing our part, but we have to play our part. So churches and local leaders are getting involved at an unprecedented rate. And every dinner that I go to of Republican dinners from counties all over Ohio, you got this sense of nobody is dialing back. If anything, we've got the keys again. We have to push forward even more.
That's right. Hey, speaking of churches, before we go, just real quick, tell everybody the name of your church and how they can contact the church.
Yeah, so the church we started first in the downtown area, it's the River Church Cincinnati. Our home church is with the River Church in Tampa, Florida, with Pastor Rodney and Donica Howard Brown. Me and my wife were actually working on staff whenever he got arrested during 2020, and we saw firsthand the impact of local government. That changed something in us, so we knew that we had to launch out and come right to downtown Cincinnati. 2 years later, we actually started King's Arms Coffee with the King's Arms Coffee that's in Tampa, Florida. We started the first shop. Yeah, we started that in downtown Cincinnati as well. So we've got church, ministry, we've got business. And so we've got rivercincinnati.com is the website of the church. And so far, I believe that we've prayed with just under 7,000 individuals in the downtown area. And we're just getting started on that. Every Sunday
River
at
Church
10 a.m.
Cincinnati, King's Arms Coffee, and now running for mayor.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
Well,
and I've got
a
fourth baby on the way.
Oh. Hey, that's awesome. More right-wing Christian nationalist Republicans. That's fantastic. Just keep on having kids. Listen, man, you're awesome. I am going to be praying over this whole. You got to win this election, man. It would be stunning. It would be huge. And if you win, and it's gonna shock a lot of people, and then the whole Vance connection is gonna with the vice president being your brother, that's gonna explode. I mean, you could be national. I mean, like seriously, if this pops and you win this thing, I mean, you could go national in a hurry. I really hope that happens, man, because we need people like you. Last thing I'll say, we need people like you who in 2020, after Pastor Rodney gets arrested, you go in the midst of COVID totalitarianism, which couldn't be any worse than it was in the city of Cincinnati, go and start, a COVID rebellion church right in the middle. That's easy to do that down here in Florida. But in Ohio, especially in Cincinnati, that was not easy. You guys, I mean, unbelievable courage. All right, let me ask you this last thing. So what do you think about the Bengals signed T. Higgins? What do you think? What are the Bengals looking like 2025? Quick prediction. What do you think?
If we can get our defense in line, I'm telling you, just like we say every year, we're going to the bowl, baby.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, man. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins. I mean, you guys are loaded on offense. Loaded, scary, frightening on offense. All right, my friend. God bless you. Win this thing. And, hey, if you get really big, still come back on the Tom Laipply podcast, all right?
Absolutely. Thank
all right, brother.
You,
love you, man.
It's an honor being on. Seriously.
I'll see you at the next whenever you're down in Tampa again. I'll see you in person. God bless you. Call me.
We'll
Call me if you need
in
anything.
May for the next conference.
Okay, I'll see you there. I'll be there. All right, love you, brother.
Awesome.
God bless you.
Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome anytime. All right, we are back. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Got a lot of people watching. That's a good thing. So a lot of people on 1,266 people watching live right now. Thank you guys for that's a big deal. If we can win those, imagine Republicans you have a mayoralship going on in Miami. So if we can win in Miami, you can win in Cincinnati, and the mayor of Miami has turned that whole city around. And Pastor Bowman, Corey Bowman, he can turn that whole city around. Pray. Listen, all of you pray. If you can give. Let's get Corey that victory in Cincinnati. It'll make Brent happy too, since he's a Cincinnati native. And your family's still there, right?
No, they're just a little north of
yeah, but they're all in that area.
Yeah,
so they may not be able to vote in the city election.
Yeah.
But they're all there. How the health of Cincinnati probably affects all the suburbs around Cincinnati. But anyway, all right, let me hop back into this real quick. Since I want to give you these numbers again, because we're hopping back into the Trump econ here from Dave Darkins. April jobs report crushes expectations. 477,000 jobs added instead of forecasted 135. Now what that means is people taking jobs, and jobs created was just under 500,000, as I said earlier. Those are jobs that were taken and jobs that were created. Job creation alone was 177,000 jobs in the month of April. Jobs taken, 477,000 jobs taken, all in the month of April. And here's what Liz Warren has to say. You can put up the next one for me. So here's what Liz Warren has to say about it. Donald Trump has shrunk the economy, Aaron.
Yeah.
What is notice today? Is today the 3rd or the 2nd?
It's the 2nd.
So this is from today. So Donald Trump I'm just going to make it easy so I don't have to use all the wild numbers. 500 Donald Trump created or jobs taken and created 500,000 jobs in the month of April alone. Gas is $2.98. Milwaukee James says gas is $1.98 and up there, whatever it is. Gas prices going down, egg prices going down, grocery prices going down, all these jobs being added. And she has the lying audacity to go up and say Donald Trump has shrunk the economy. How has he shrunk the economy? Because GDP went down 0.3%, which, by the way, is on purpose, which you'll hear in just a minute from Peter St. Onge. Donald Trump has shrunk the economy, raised grocery costs. Aaron, your groceries gone up?
Nope.
Mine either. So, that's weird. I don't think that I've seen any gone up. So that's just, what is Lizzie doing here? What's Pocahontas doing? Lying. This is what, imagine that again, and I'll try not to get into my moral diatribes and about how do you live being a Democrat, get up every morning, look yourself in the mirror. I'll try not to lapse into that, but it absolutely blows my mind how anybody could go and lie for a living. When everybody, it's always funny because everybody, as they should, denigrates the Nazi party, as we all should, but you're just like them. You just go up and again, you butcher the unborn to the tune of $40 million a year. You want to ban guns. You want experiments on kids. You want experimental vaccines injected into people in violation of the Nuremberg Code. And you want to take everybody's guns. And you make up pandemics. Like, by the way, they follow the Nazi script. How did Hitler initially intern the Jews? He said they had a different form of typhoid than everybody else. How's that? How do you have a different form of typhoid than anybody else? That's how he initially interned them. Then he went after the guns. Who does that sound like? Does that sound like Aaron? Does it sound like me? Sound like Brent? Does it sound like you? No, it sounds like the Democratic Party. We don't ban guns. What else did Hitler do? Ban speech. What else did Hitler do? If you're going to have a Hitler, if you're going to have a Stalin, you got to have a Goebbels. So here's one of the Goebbels right here. She's lying. Well, shrunk the economy. Give me the statistical data about how he shrunk the economy. 500,000 jobs added in April. Funny. How's that shrinking the economy? Raised grocery prices? No, he didn't. And decreased consumer confidence. I don't have a decrease in consumer confidence. Do you guys? No, I'd buy something right now. I'd buy a brand new truck right now. I'm buying everything right now. Yeah. I just built a garage. I mean, I don't have decreased consumer confidence. I'm perfectly fine. Confidence the lowest since May of 2020. Where'd she get that stat from? I can tell you where she got it from. She pulled it out of her crusty, hemorrhoid-filled rectum. That's where she pulled it out of. And it probably took some time. Go to the next one for me. Speaking of rectums, here's Elizabeth Warren again. Giant grocery stores and massive food conglomerates this is what she said. Remember, this was Joe Biden. This is what she said under Joe Biden. So groceries, okay, now you have to frame all these things because they're lies built on lies. So she says grocery store prices going up, which in fact is a lie. But let's play her game for a minute. So she says grocery store prices are going up now, and it's Donald Trump's fault. But when grocery prices were actually going up, remember Aaron, don't you remember, and Brent, do you remember when they went up 40% in 4 years? And remember, not all of them were even 40%. A lot of them were 100%. Yeah. Remember when you wanted to buy a house and you couldn't? Okay, you remember that? Remember that? Or it became inordinately more difficult to buy a house because it used to be that same house was $301,000. Now it's $411,000 under Biden in a mere 2-year, span of the Biden administration. So when all of that happened, that had nothing to do with Joe Biden. And I mean, you're talking about hyperinflation of groceries happened under Joe Biden. And this is what she said 1 year ago. Giant grocery stores and massive food conglomerates are ripping people off. Where's Joey Biden in your sentence? Where's Joey Biden in your post? And they can get away with it because there's not enough competition to keep them in check. I'll keep working says, what has Liz ever accomplished? Can anybody name anything? I mean, seriously, let's come up with a list of all that Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swallowswell, let's come up with a list, or any Biden, of what they've ever actually accomplished in life. We do not send the best to represent us. We actually send the worst because these people become career, celebrity politicians. And what is supposed to be is a bunch of retired doctors and lawyers and steel workers and cops and everybody else going up there and serving for 2 terms and coming home. I'll keep working, she says to Laura. How does she work? What was the work that she did? So she had a whole year. What's the work she did between then and now? She said she'll keep working. You're like, Tom, leave it alone. We all know. No, I can't. I want to know. I want to know all specifics. I hate generalities. I like specificity. So I don't like your vast generalities. I want to know specifics. I'll keep working to lower costs by increasing competition. Did she do, what was the specific work she did to increase competition? Do you know, Aaron? I don't know. Tackling corporate price gouging. How does she, so she said that the reason why prices were going up was from price gouging. When all the grocery stores make, even at their highest prices, the most they make is 1%. And they're gouging. They make 1 to 2% on products. 1 to 2%. That's an absolute fact. So when you saw eggs at $8 a carton, they were making 2%. When you saw milk at $4 a gallon, they were making 2%. And she's claiming that they're price gouging. No, what you have is so many dollars chasing so few goods. That's called hyperinflation because, once again, 40% of our current currency, think about this, in circulation was printed by the Biden administration. That's why we had high grocery store prices. Nothing to do with gouging anybody. And I'm no corporatist. I believe a lot of corporations are absolutely corrupt. But that had nothing to do with price gouging. So let's look at more. So this is what Liz says about the economy. Donald Trump has got the economy in shambles is what she says. Go to the next one for me, Brent. Zero hedge tweet. There it is. Native-born workers plus 1.0 million. You see this? I thought she said that Aaron, is there any way for you to put her tweet back up for just a second? Or any way to do both or anything, but just give me her tweet. So here she's the one before that. Because I just want, as we're looking at, Donald Trump has shrunk the economy, raise grocery store prices, and decrease consumer confidence. All right, go to the one that we just had with the graph. So there, I mean, where is it? Here's the specifics for you. Where does everybody see that graph? And this if you can't see the specifics, red good. See that? How that's climbing? That's native-born workers under the Trump administration. 1 million more jobs. Foreign-born workers since Trump has taken office have gone down 410,000 jobs. So, million more. By the way, that's a net gain of overall jobs of 600,000. So there's no way to bend those numbers to benefit a Democrat. No, there's no way to do it. There's no way to manipulate those numbers to benefit anything a Democrat's saying where the economy is in chaos. Go to the next one for me. Here's Peter St. Onge. GDP goes negative, and that's put out as a negative against Trump, but Peter St. Onge says it's glorious. Pay it for me.
It's official. GDP is negative, and it is glorious. Last week, the Bureau of Economic Analysis reported that GDP for the first 3 months of 2025 turned negative for the first time since 2022. The kicker is all of it was caused by a 41% surge of imports front-running tariffs, which official GDP bizarrely counts as negative GDP. Without those, actual GDP soared by 4.5%, which is Asia level. It actually gets better because government spending dropped for the first time since 2022, control for that, and the economy grew by nearly 5% on the quarter, which, fun fact, is double China's current growth rate. So what's driving the boom? Simple private sector investment, the mother's milk of prosperity. BAA said investment skyrocketed in the quarter by 22%, much of it driven ironically by the very same tariffs that took the headline number down, as in foreign companies are falling over themselves to move production inside Donald Trump's tariff umbrella and produce in America.
Imagine being a Democrat and watching that. You have investment in our economy. It's up just a little bit, Aaron. Just up a little bit, everyone watching. 22% under Donald Trump. When did you ever see Biden ever? I mean, again, what does it even mean to be a Democrat in 2025? You have to defend abject failure. You have to defend it. You have to actually pretend, which everybody has gotten good at doing. We're going to pretend that a 99.9% survivable virus is a 99.9% unsurvivable virus. We're going to pretend boys are girls, girls are boys, whatever. We're going to pretend all these different things. We're going to pretend we're not $37 trillion in debt, and we need to maintenance current spending levels, because if we don't, people somehow will be ripped off, or people won't get what they need. We're not getting any of that money anyway. Nobody, by the way, that $37 trillion in debt, that's not going to inner cities to feed kids. That's going to Democratic Party NGOs so they can hire Democratic Party attorneys, while they themselves are making multi-millions of dollars hiring Democratic Party attorneys. They give them $60 million to give away, but they spend $59 million to give away $1 million out of the $60 million they were given. That's all that's been going on in our country for the last 40 years. That's all that's been going on. So to be a Democrat in 2025, you have to blow off the fact that there's a 22% increase in investment in our economy, both foreign and domestic. People are knocking themselves over. I thought that the economy had shrunk, according to Liz Warren. I mean, do you see what NVIDIA is going to build? OpenAI is going to build? I mean, have you seen all these companies? What Ford is doing? They're knocking themselves over to be a part of this economy. You're probably thinking, yeah, but a lot of those companies, they're international globalists. They're at the WEF. Yeah, but they're not going to run away from money, folks. They know Trump is made of money. Trump's made of money, and he makes everybody else make money. They're not going to run from that. And to be a Democrat in 2025, you have to just come up to a microphone and whore yourself out to bold-faced lies. That's what you have to do. I mean, you have to just bend over and whore yourself out for bold-faced. Oh, this economy is terrible. How's it terrible? Name one aspect of the economy that's terrible. There's not one aspect of the economy that's terrible. Hey, before I forget, I'm going to say hi to Ronald Mortensen. Hey, brother, at Eli State Prison. In Nevada. Love you, man. Appreciate you watching. God bless you, man. Seriously, love you. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for getting other people to watch. And I love you guys. And I pray that you guys are doing great. And I pray that someday you get out of there in Jesus' name. But anyway, so the economy is awesome. It just is. Here's more on that. Adam Hughes video. Tariffs. China is in free fall. Here's Scott Bessett. Play for me.
Of weeks, a couple of months. What's your timing, Mr. Secretary?
Well, again, Maria, as I said, the Chinese need to de-escalate these high tariffs because there is the equivalent of an embargo, and the Chinese business model is built on selling cheap goods to the U.S. They sell us about 5 times more than we sell them. So, their factories are closing down as we speak. We're going into the holiday season. Orders are placed for that now. So if those orders aren't placed, it could be devastating for the Chinese.
So go right to the next one for me, Brent. Leading report tweet. So he says they need, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, says that they need to drop these tariffs, which is what Trump's trying to do to even out so we don't have a trade deficit. So leading report. So what has China done? Look at the date right there, 10:48 a.m. this morning. Breaking: China quietly exempts because their country is falling apart. If Nancy Pelosi, if Pocahontas Warren, if Chuck Schumer want to talk about an economy in chaos, go to China where they have empty shipping containers, empty factories, and they're furloughing employees as we speak, where you furlough half of the employees at a factory, which makes your economy unstable, which, by the way, if you have an unstable economy in the United States, we all grumble, we all complain. We watch podcasts like this one where a chubby guy screams for an hour and a half. That's what we do. In China, they go full-scale revolt because there's nothing to lose there. Your life's hell anyway. And they're going to make it more hellish, so you go ahead and revolt. And Xi Jinping knows that. So they quietly exempt nearly 25% of all U.S. imports from tariffs. While we're levying, get this now, I mean, look at the magic of Donald Trump. He's levying 145% tariffs on them while they quietly exempt 25% of all of our imports from any tariffs at all. I mean, who can do this? Donald Trump can. What's Joe Biden ever done? Nothing. What's George W. Bush ever done? Nothing. What's Obama ever done? Nothing. Herbert Walker Bush? Nothing. What have they ever done? Nothing. What's any Democratic Party politician ever done? Nothing. Have they ever pulled anything like this? Hey, you know what? We're going to levy 145% tariffs on you, and you're going to quietly take all the tariffs off 25% of our imports going into China. I mean, do you get this? This is absolute wizardry. This is genius. This is all on purpose. This is the magic of Donald Trump. That's why he's got $12 billion in the bank and built the New York City skyline. Let's go to the next one. Lives to TikTok, I think is where we're at. Lives to TikTok tweet. Let's go to the border. Meet Santiago Vargas Rodriguez. There we go. Santiago Vargas Rodriguez, an illegal alien who has been arrested 16 times. We figured he'd be deported on the first time. How about the second time? Aaron, how about the 7th time?
Maybe.
Hey, Brent, how about the 10th time? How about he's been arrested 16 times and never deported? What a fantastic job. Fantastic job by the CBP. Fantastic job by ICE and the Biden administration. Since arriving in Chicago, I didn't even see that. In Chicago, he's been arrested 16 times since 23. He averages, let's see, 23. I'll just pretend like he was November. No, wait. He's only been in the country since 2024 because you're going to get into the country till November 2023. So no, 2023 doesn't even count. So he's averaging 16 arrests per year. His prior arrests include such things as shoplifting, no big deal there. Robbery, now it's getting to be a big deal. Assault and felony drug crimes. Rodriguez is finally in ICE custody and is now facing deportation, as Lives of TikTok says. Shia Raycheck, bye-bye. But what, I mean, is this, Aaron, I wonder if this guy, let's see, is he a Chicago dad? He's a Chicago man?
Yeah.
Chicago father? Are they going to come all, I mean, again, what is it? You're like, Tom, get off it. Listen, I can't. I'm a little OCD. I can't get off of it. Imagine being a Democrat in 2025. And let me go over this with you real quick. Again, I'm serious. You need to make this part of your day. When you get up in the morning, swing right out of bed, go right to your knees, and then just say a very quick prayer to God. Say, thank you, Lord. I am not so stupid that I ever joined the Democratic Party. Just thank them every day that you're not as stupid as a Democrat. Really, I mean, thank God every day you're not. Because their platform in 2025 is to keep Santiago Vargas Rodriguez in the country. That's their platform. Imagine that. And that's why I'm like, Corey Bowman has to win in Cincinnati. He has to win because the mayor wants to keep Rodriguez in the country and Corey Bowman doesn't. I mean, he has to win in Cincinnati. All right, let's go to the next one. Pick from the Gateway Pundit. Whoa, here we are. Speaking of not allowing deportations, Laura Loomer uncovers a massive conflict of interest involving race baiting. Involving race-baiting federal judge who ordered border agents to not detain illegal aliens without a warrant. See, I love having Brent in studio because Brent was a cop, I was a cop, and imagine, Brent, where you are witnessing somebody punch their wife's teeth in, and this judge thinks, halt, officer, halt, deputy sheriff. You need to go get a warrant before you can make an arrest on the guy that you are witnessing punch his wife's teeth down her throat. Mm-hmm. That's what she believes. Don't make an arrest. You know it's an illegal, and he might be child sex trafficking, fentanyl trafficking, labor trafficking, or he can be like Kilmar Abrego Garcia and punching his wife or trafficking in children, whatever it may be. But if you see it happening, halt, says, look at this dork. Look at this freaking dork. Again, who has never been on a police call in her life, has no idea what it means to control people, has no idea what it means or what it takes to keep people safe. Brent's been on thousands of police calls. I've been on thousands of police calls. And she has no idea what she's talking about. That you're going to halt and go get a warrant? How is that ever going to work? So imagine this. I'm witnessing an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven. Imagine this. And I'll just sit in my police car and start making calls to judges at 3 o'clock in the morning where nobody's going to answer to get a warrant. What do I do? Do I not detain them? I mean, what do I do? Imagine, again, this is what it means to be a Democrat in 2025. You are so stupid. And by the way, there's a lot of Democrats that are cops. I'm wondering, where are you guys? Where are you guys? So this what you want? You mean drive down the middle of the road? You see a guy flee the scene of an accident? I can't do anything. I gotta go get a warrant. You gonna follow him? What's the point of putting lights on? What's the point of pulling him over? What's the point of arresting him? You gotta get a warrant first. Can't detain him. Got to get a warrant first because an arrest is detainment. Unbelievable. So anyway, she's found. So this judge. This is Jennifer Thurston. That's her name. And she's filthy rotten rich, of course. So it doesn't affect her. She lives behind the guns and the walls she doesn't want you to have, and she wants you to live with the illegals that she would never live with herself. So, but everybody in the Democratic Party now thinks she's virtuous, and that's all that matters to Jenny Thurston here. But Laura Loomer has uncovered, uncovers massive conflict of interest where she should have recused herself. Aaron, if you could just side by side the next one when you get a chance as I'm reading this, I'm just going to show you who the husband is. You don't need to listen to his words. I mean, it's a long, freaking boring video. I never should have even sent it in. But there she is. You can just side by side it whenever you can. So this is her husband here. So, and here he is actually advocating for illegals to not be deported in of course, the state of California. So the husband of California U.S. District Court Judge Jennifer Thurston, here he is. The judge who just ruled that President Trump's, and by the way, this is an article from Laura Loomer. No, actually, it's from the Gateway Pundit. So anyway, the judge who just ruled that President Trump's administration can't arrest any more illegals unless they have a warrant for their arrest her husband is a multi-family real estate broker in California who caters to the illegal alien immigrant community and makes Instagram videos about how Donald Trump's mass deportations and immigration policies are bad for multifamily real estate brokers and investors. So if your husband is an anti-Trump zealot, should you be ruling in a Trump case? Here we go again. Here we go again, whether it's Engeron, whether it's Shutkin, the myriad of other judges, that Jeb Boasberg, whose wife and daughter receive vast amounts of monies from the NGOs that Jeb Boasberg orders Trump to continue to fund. Juan Merchan and Lauren Merchan out of NYC and the 34 felony convictions. receiving money because she's receiving money from, she's raising money off of the trial. $10 million went into her own pocket. She raised $100 million off that trial, and Mershon doesn't recuse himself? And Jenny Thurston doesn't recuse herself after her husband is a multi-millionaire real estate conglomerate who regularly makes anti-Trump videos. She ought not to recuse herself. Imagine if Jenny had to go to she was the subject of a trial. She was the defendant in the trial. And her judge was a pro-Trump zealot, and she, of course, is an anti-Trump zealot. You want a pro-Trump zealot to be determining whether or not you go to federal prison or not? This is a massive conflict of interest, again, from Gateway Pundit, that casts doubt on Judge Thurston's April 29, 2025 issuance of a preliminary injunction forbidding, because she is financially benefiting off of her ruling. If illegals are not deported, she directly financially benefits from it. So how is she going to rule? That's why you have recusals. You couldn't have me rule on, whether churches should be tax exempt or not. I can tell you how I'll vote. You have to have people who are not pastors of churches. So if you're going to have somebody rule on immigration policy, it needs to be somebody who's not receiving money from either side of the immigration debate. She receives money from keeping illegals in the country via her husband. All right, that's good enough on that. Let's go to the next one. Where the heck am I? Gateway Pundit tweet, is that right? Okay, here we go. Breaking, just from last night, so everybody knows, you've probably seen it already. President Trump signs executive order defunding NPR and PBS. Well, I mean, why? You can just rename NPR, who's the one who runs NPR. Remember, she's on the board of Signal, where you had the famous Jeffrey Goldberg Signal infiltration. Kind of strange that it was all coincidence. And it was all coincidence, although everybody knows each other and pays each other. Everything's coincidental. But NPR and PBS are no more as far as us paying for, again, our own political demise, because all they put out is pro-trans, pro-Democratic Party propaganda. So they're gone. Let's go to the next one. This one is hysterical. This is unreal. New York Post. CBS scores an Emmy nomination for the 60-minute interview that they did with Kamala Harris that they edited to favor Kamala Harris. So, I mean, it's just all in our face. You receive an Emmy nomination because you did a pro-Democratic Party edit to a show. So you get an Emmy nomination? Did anybody watch that interview? Anybody watch it? I mean, it is boring as crap. It's nonsensical. The woman makes no sense. I have to give her credit. Her latest speech, although incoherent, she didn't appear to be drunk this time. And she almost always appears to be drunk with her, her hand, yes. Aaron can do a way better imitation than I can. I mean, I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, at least in her speech, she still has the violent sort of demonic possessed gestures, but right. At least she didn't sound she always sounds not only drunk, but drunk mixed with barbiturates. That's what she always sounds like every time. But in this interview, it's absolutely wretched, horrible. And you get an Emmy nomination? So you get an Emmy nomination for being pro-Democratic Party. And not only pro-Democratic Party, being a Goebbels propagandist, lying propagandist for the Democratic Party. An Emmy nomination. It's all fact, by the way. Let's go to the next one. Here's what Trump has accomplished. Just 47 hostages that Joe Biden did nothing about, Donald Trump's gotten out in 100 days, including the family you see below. There you go. That's Tony Holden. He's a contractor from Memphis. Imagine, again, a Democrat. What did Joe Biden do for 4 years? What did he do? All these hostages were perfectly available for him to rescue. Why weren't they rescued? Because they didn't fear him. That's why. You don't arrest, if you don't release the hostages Donald Trump wants you to release, you're scared out of your mind. That's why he's on the cusp via the mineral deal of ending the Ukraine war. Because Putin fears Trump. Zelensky fears Trump. And Donald Trump showed Zelensky from day one, you know what? You screw around with me, I'm out. So all these people know this. They all know it. That's why 47 so Donald Trump is averaging a hostage release every other day. What did Joe Biden do? Again, you're like, Tom, get off it. I can't. I'll try, but I can't. What does it mean to be a Democrat in 2025? You advocate for a president who had the exact same hostages and he did nothing about them. Nothing except secure the release of Brittany Griner, who we all know is a man. There you go. Let's go to the next one. Nick Sorter video. I just want to show you this because reading off the Gateway Pundit, settlement in principle reached an Ashley Babbitt lawsuit. So Donald Trump, now that he runs the DOJ and he runs the Capitol Police, he's reaching a financial settlement. There's Ashley Babbitt's family, via Judicial Watch, has sued the federal government prior, of course, to Donald Trump. She was shot and killed, as everybody knows. She was showed the video. And I shouldn't show the video because Aaron knows what's going to happen. I'm not going to stop talking about the video because it's just tactically. Brenton, you're here. You can back me up and actually mic yourself. You can back me up and jump right in. I'm seriously because you know the tactics about being in a crossfire and everything else. But anyway, it appears that the $30 million lawsuit, Tom Fitton, Judicial Watch, Babbitt family, her husband's involved in, and everything else, appears to be coming to an end because Donald Trump knows that she was wrongfully shot and has said so from day one, even though it cost him negative political ramifications. You asked, Kevin McCarthy, was she rightfully shot? Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Kevin, how do you know? So anyway, let's watch. Aaron, I didn't even ask you. Did you bleep out the one S at the beginning? Oh, we're good anyway. We're out. It doesn't matter. So anyway, Nick Sorter video. Here's the shooting. And Aaron, what we'll do is we'll play it and then just go right back to the beginning. And then I'm going to go over it real quick. Play it for me. Now, I've already done this, and if you watch this podcast, this is redundant, and I don't apologize for the redundancy because I really want people to understand this. Okay, there you have it. Go back to the beginning for me, Aaron. I'm sorry to do this to you. Just go back to the beginning. So there's Michael Byrd. Freeze it. So here you have it. Now, again, I've got another cop in the room. Now, we've pointed our guns at people, okay? So here's the thing. You're pointing your gun at somebody, right? You got your gun pointed at him. Michael Byrd. So I'm just going to go back and forth between this and the Gateway Pundit article. That'll be entertaining, at least for me. So you have Michael Byrd, the Capitol Police officer who murdered Ashley Babbitt. The lawsuit extensively details the history of incompetence of Michael Byrd and multiple revocations. Hear that, Aaron? Hear that, Brent? Multiple revocations of firearm privileges. Okay. Ask Brent how many times he had his firearm revoked when he was a cop. Zero. How many? Me? Zero. Okay, so there you go. Multiple firearms. I mean, imagine that's Barney fifing you. You get Barney fifed. They take away your gun as a cop. I mean, listen, I try not to be gross and I get in trouble with my wife saying things like this, but why don't you just lop my nuts off? Let's put them on the table, get out a butcher knife, lop my nuts off, okay? Because you do. What am I going to do? March around like Barney Fife with a bullet in my pocket?
She's already yelling at you on the chat.
I mean, come on. So Michael Byrd gets his multiple revocations of firearms privileges. You shouldn't say that stuff. I admit it. Okay, that's the problem. Aaron and I were talking to a guy who's attended the church before, and that's where I shouldn't say stuff. Okay, I don't cuss. You're not going to ever hear me say a cuss word, but I probably, as a pastor of church, shouldn't tell people lop my nuts off. Okay, I need to work on that a little bit. But anyway, all right. So multiple revocations of firearm for stop laughing, Aaron. For previous danger. Okay, multiple. I got to get back on. You shouldn't be laughing here. This is serious business. So anyway, not you, Aaron. I'm talking about me.
Yeah.
And multiple revocations of firearm privileges for previous dangerous incidents involving Michael Byrd, the Capitol Police officer who murdered Ashley Babbitt. So there you have him pointing. Just leave it frozen. Pointing a gun at a woman. Now Ashley Babbitt, if I remember her dimensions correctly, was 5'3", less than 120 pounds. She is unarmed. Now, Michael Byrd, in his interview, I shouldn't have started this at 10:12. Well, it's okay. We'll go a little bit late because we had the interview with the awesome Corey Bowman. But anyway, when he gave his interview about his shooting of Ashley Babbitt, and of course it was given to a very politically friendly leftist like ABC, NBC, whatever, CBS. He said that the reason why he shot her was because he could not see her hands. That's exactly why you don't shoot her. Okay, first of all, there's no evidence. Now, that can be if you are dispatched to a call of an armed robbery and you have the suspect sitting in the car making furtive gestures as if towards a firearm, and the dispatch call was to a man armed with a firearm. Aaron, how many firearms were found on J6 protesters?
None.
0. So they had no dispatch to this area of it. Look at the people in the background. There's people walking up and down the halls. How scared is everybody? None. Now, and I know there's a lot more to go to this. So, but let's go here. You have her in your sights. She's unarmed and crawling through a window, probably because she's being crushed on the other end. And the other end contains a freaking SWAT team. Mm-hmm. How do you shoot a woman who has a SWAT team standing 3 feet behind her? Can't they shoot her, Michael? She's crawling through a window. You're a grown... This is where I miss cussing because I dropped the A word right here. Mm-hmm. You're a grown man. You can't handle Ashley Babbitt? You can't just take her to the ground like Brent's done 1,000 times and just take her to the ground and put handcuffs on her? If that's what you want to do, or maybe just, like everybody else, like all the other J6ers, just usher her down a hallway, pat her on the head, and send her out the back door like they're done a million other times, probably with the undercover assets that were undercover FBI assets. So there's no reason you don't shoot somebody simply because they're crawling through a window in a public building. I know that it's pseudo dangerous. She shouldn't be going through the window. I agree. You know how many times, and you asked Brent the same thing, that we witness people doing things they shouldn't do? You know what you don't do? Shoot them. Hey, I see a guy doing a vehicle burglary. Open fire. Is that what you do? That's not what you do. And she had no firearm. He couldn't see her hands. She can't show you her hands because she's holding herself up going through the window. I just advance a little bit more. So here we go. So now here comes the shot. No reason. Shoots her. She goes down and she goes, there's no reason to shoot her. So she would have survived this injury if the idiots behind her, they're the cops. Why would you shoot her? They're not only cops, you have the Capitol Hill SWAT team, Capitol Police Department, SWAT team standing right behind her. Can't they just grab her by the shirt and pull her to the ground? Mm-hmm. Michael Bird, instead of you executing her? Can't they do that? And why would you be shooting in the direction of other cops? You can see through the window, Michael. But of course, again, you've had your firearm revoked multiple times. This includes a failure for the reason why it was revoked. This includes a failure to meet or complete semi-annual firearms qualification requirements. And I'll just tell you this. I had qualified, I don't know, at least 25 times in a 25-year career with multiple firearms. So that was just my one that I carried. So probably I qualified in the shotgun. So probably 50, 60 times I qualified for various firearms. Do you know how easy those qualifications are? I mean, I'm not trying to denigrate cops, okay? But if you can't pass a firearms qualification, resign. You simply need to resign because it is not hard. Most of it's inside of 5 yards. By the way, that shot was about 2.5 yards from her neck. So she dies, and there's the cops right there. Imagine being a Democrat and thinking that's justifiable shooting. I mean, imagine that. This includes for Michael Board, a failure to meet or complete semi-annual firearms qualifications. Could that mean a shoot-don't shoot scenario that he fails over and over again? How many of those you want to go through, Brett? You shoot, don't shoot scenarios.
Yeah, tons.
Tons. We all do. You go through there, whether you're using paint guns or airsoft guns and even at times live rounds as you go through a firing range and they steal targets and everything else. Don't shoot, don't shoot. Mm-hmm. Everybody does it. If you can't pass shoot, don't shoot, resign immediately. I remember going through a training one time and they call it the shoot house. And it's basically a steel building they built, and they just did one shooting scenario after another. And I was going through there with somebody who was trying to do crossover training from the jail. And we opened up the door, and he just opened fire. I mean, the instructors were absolutely stunned, like almost like in a seizure, like, what are you doing? Because the guy just opened fire on a bunch of innocents. I mean, there's like, paper targets, and it's like a woman carrying a baby. You're supposed to be able to discern as a law enforcement officer, shoot, don't shoot. Okay, here, blatantly, don't shoot. Tackle her to the ground if you want to. You have a 10-member SWAT team standing behind her. Why would you ever shoot her? Maybe it's because you failed to meet or complete semi-annual firearms qualification requirements. He left a loaded Glock 22, the same firearm he used to shoot and kill Ashley Babbitt, in the bathroom, not in the police station, at the Capitol Visitor Center.
Oh my gosh.
Whoops. That's a good idea. And he shot into a moving vehicle that was stolen by teenagers. See, if Brent and I were dispatched to the scene and I witnessed a guy he stole a vehicle. I caught him setting it on fire. Okay? And I chased him. You know what I didn't do? Shoot him. He's committing arson. He's not shooting a gun at me. He's out in the middle of a field burning his stolen, we call it signal 10s, burning his signal 10 in the field, okay? He got in another car and ran from me and smashed into the woods. He actually ran himself over with his own car. It's pretty funny. Nice. He ran himself over. He tried to get out, caught himself up in the door, and got blown up right into the door. It's pretty funny. But he got away and ran. He actually got away from us because he ran out into the woods. And anyway, we bloodied up, though. He had a nice blood trail, so who knows if he actually lived or not. But anyway, I didn't shoot him. I never shot him. You know why? Because he didn't have a gun. He wasn't threatening my life. He was running from me. But Michael Bird, when you're teenagers and you steal cars, he opens fire. And the guy, and just to close this out, I just want to congratulate the Capitol Police Department because Lieutenant Michael Bird is now Captain Michael Bird because he's been promoted. Isn't that great? All right, 1020, that's it. Dadgummit, man. I got so much more. I got Edward Dowd's monthly U.S. disability data coming. I mean, oh my gosh, these shots. I got another vaccine segment coming. Be ready. You think I was yelling tonight? Wait till the vaccine segment comes out. All right, Rumble Rant. Dave Souders, $5. Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you guys for all joining us tonight, especially with the Corey Bowman campaign in Cincinnati. I'm a pastor, business owner, running for politics, running for mayor. I mean, just a great person. JD Vance's brother. I mean, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for the huge numbers. It's Friday night. Don't forget about church this Sunday. Let's smash the record again. We had 1,300 people, 1,300 plus watching live on Sunday. Let's smash it again. Trump is great. Winning is great. The economy is great, but it's not going to get you to heaven. Got to have Jesus. Come to a church that mirrors this podcast. Bible thumping, promises of God, hellfire, brimstone, repentance, healing, restoration. Every promise of God preached. You'll love it. I'm the exact same guy. And listen, I've tried to not say like balls from the pulpit, but it's still gotten better. Penis hole. I've eliminated that. I'm trying. Okay. I am trying. I mean, I'm trying to get better. I've cut out. I think I'm about 80%.
Yeah.
80%
No,
cut saying
better.
things I shouldn't say.
No shoving.
Yeah, what was that?
No
shoving things
yeah.
up your cabooses. I'm trying to eliminate that. But anyway, love you guys. Join us at Foundation Church this Sunday at 10 a.m. You will see at 10 a.m. Eastern. No matter where you're at, don't go to COVID Caving Church. I would normally tell you, join a local church. You got to go to a local. No, you don't, because most of them are crap. They are. You need to find out what they're all about. Did they ever cave to COVID? If they did they publicly repent? All those different things. I've seen people. It's so funny because I've seen people just backtrack. They came to our church because we stood up and we never closed, never will. And then they backtrack into sweet COVID caving, Southern slurring, God's never mad at you kind of churches. Let's make sure we're always showing love to everybody. Let's make sure we're accommodating and tolerant. They come to this church and then find a reason to be offended. Find a reason and then slither back into these disgusting, compromised, lukewarm, COVID caving churches. I mean, I just don't get it. I honestly don't get it. For the word of God is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit and of the joints and marrows, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 12. That's the kind of church you got to go to. So join us this Sunday, 10 a.m. You'll see Aaron start to lead worship around 10:15ish. I'll take the stage around 11 and then just start thumping. So join us. I'd love to break our record. It'd be awesome. But if you don't, I'll see you so join us this Sunday at 10 a.m. If I don't see you then, I'll see you Monday night as usual, 9 o'clock p.m. for another, tonight is 83 Minutes of Fury. Just shy of 90 Minutes of Fury. Someone was talking to me about that on Twitter. I missed the 90 Minutes of Fury. Well, he gets 83 Minutes of Fury. It's pretty good. But I love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. I'll either see you Sunday morning or Monday night. God bless you. That's how you should be living. Fear not. Have no fear of sudden disaster. Hurricane this, sickness, illness, disease, infirmity, economic collapse. It's got nothing to do with you. Are you in covenant with the world or covenant with Christ? Well, then talk like it, act like it, speak like it, believe like it.
Thank you for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you'll receive a free TLP mug. Sip your favorite beverage while enjoying all the insights from our episodes. Your support helps us keep bringing you current events from around the globe. Donate now to claim your mug.
Ain't that the schnizzle?
Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Rodrigo Garcia?
I think you should fuck off. Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, what, Congresswoman?
fuck off.
Who should?
You.
Why me?
We're not taking any questions right now, but here you go.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, why do you believe that Hollywood was created by the CIA?
Well, before we say Hollywood was created by the CIA, I guess I should clarify because, first off, you guys do know that the Pentagon has a budget for film. Like there's a whole department in the Pentagon.
I know that.
That's a fact. There you go. That's all you need to know. There's an entire department in the Pentagon. They get involved with films, and they get involved with films for the purpose of propaganda. They always have.
What movies have
I
they
should have
produced?
said Pentagon instead of CIA. Tons of them. I should show you the list. You should pull it up. It's
Google it right now.
wild. Yeah,
Absolutely,
Pentagon
please.
Department for Hollywood. Tons of them.
I have to
Even
report this.
Transformers. Even Transformers, because they're concerned about certain narratives. They get involved with World War films, how are we telling a story about history? Usually it's because we're lying about what we did or trying not to make Americans aware of the crimes against humanity that we commit overseas,
Yeah, the Pentagon has funded some films. Black Hawk Down, Red Dawn, GoldenEye.
The more you know. So now you understand your experience in theaters is what your government wants you to think. They want you to think that this is how things happen, and it's usually not at all how things have actually happened.
6 of the best movies made with help from the Department of Defense. This is military.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said CIA. I should have just said the government. But
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Red Dawn, Apollo 13.
Mm-hmm. It's all about
Iron
just
Man?
Iron Man. Oh, I didn't know that was on the list.
Now he
What?
upset. Let me ask, interesting.
Now you said
talking about continue.
What? Iron Man? Nah, that's her limit right there. She was like, you know what? Now it's crazy.
What is the point of that? Just control?
Yeah, propaganda. It's crazy. You grow up in school and you think propaganda belongs to the east or something. Propaganda is the name of the game of our government. They, again, never want you to look into the crimes that they are committing, constantly trying to sell themselves as the good guys. They did the most. They rescued and saved the world. They've never done anything bad overseas. If you are living and you believe that the American government hasn't committed crimes against humanity, you had to wake up from the propaganda. You just got to, you got to learn real history, not what was taught to you in a textbook. That's all just propaganda. You know, we've done horrific things.
That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
For years, Hillary Rodham Clinton has told people that she was named for the first man to climb Mount Everest, Sir Edmund Hillary. But as Esquire magazine recently pointed out, Sir Edmund did not climb Mount Everest until 1953, 6 years after Hillary was born. However, the First Lady does have a good explanation for the discrepancy. She loves to lie. No more indictments are likely in the Whitewater investigation. President Clinton is still refusing to say whether he will pardon former Whitewater associates Jim and Susan McDougal. But when asked if he would pardon First Lady Hillary Clinton, the president was crystal clear, quote, "She does the crime, she does the time."